Yay, it's time to leak out the next few
Hi, Jim, can I
videos.
leak something cool?
Okay, but honestly, this video was not supposed to be released. So basically, as everyone knows, last weekend was the SG Diecast Expo. By right, I would have skipped this event altogether. As in, I'll probably just do a short intro segment, maybe 1 minute going through what happens, and then I'll go more in depth about what I've announced last month, which is the first of a 3-part unboxing special where I unbox whatever you see, like this one, this A95, this, and this E6X. And like what I said, it was supposed to be passable, like a 1 minute scene, but now it became a full-fledged video. Why? Because it got way more interesting. You know how last year's SG Diecast Expo, it was just a small event, as in, there's a few stores, also a bunch of diecast cars and whatever, mostly Hot Wheels stuff, which is what I'm not interested in, and they will sell some of this stuff there by a bunch of different companies. It would have been just a normal event, but this year you have Masterpiece, Collectibles, and Tiny spicing things up a lot more, and they bring some very interesting stuff to the table, like literally this Volvo B9TL CDGE, this Mercedes-Benz Citaro, this MAN A95 Euro 6 Lush Green, and if you want even more flair, this is the Singer Machines limited edition. This 4-bus lineup altogether is a really compelling reason why everyone would definitely rush down. I myself actually rushed down on that day itself, and the queue is incredibly insane. I went down at Great Wall City at about like 9:45, and the queue is already incredibly long. I waited about until like 11:30 to get my CG and my Citaro, and I'll talk more about this later on. Not only that, both Masterpiece and Tiny brought more recent items. I don't care. Stuff like the Police Prison Mercedes-Benz Sprinter, the other Lush Green Mercedes-Benz Citaro, the E5 KUB, and on the Tiny side, this too, the number 3, number 6, and number 9 of the 90th anniversary series, and also a bunch of other Mr. Bean stuff. And that's not to forget other stores that sells diecast items, stuff from brands like Hot Wheels and Tomica. And in fact, I bought this vintage Tomica bus, which I'll show off more later in the video because I have something interesting along with it also. There's this huge Hot Wheels area where you can play with, and also a dedicated Tomica booth where you can buy a selection of Tomica stuff. I didn't really take much video and image in the event. That's generally because the whole area is quite packed. I got this video of how it looks from the top, and it's incredibly packed. The area is quite tight. It's way more squeezier than ToyCon last year and the year before, so that's why I don't really feel like filming much. So instead, you have to suffer with my very blur pictures instead. Cry about it. Dream Customs was also involved in the event. They sold like this $7 mat, and honestly, it's really small. It looks really cool at the start, but then when you look closer at it, it's like this kind of mat but a lot thicker. Well, normally this kind of thickness I think is their standard kind of thickness for like their bus mat sets or whatever, but the one for the bus stop that they are selling for $7 is a lot thicker, and it honestly doesn't look nice. Sorry Dream Customs, that's how it works. At the end of the day, it's no surprise that this all got sold out across the very first day. For example, the MAN A95, this limited edition got sold out by 2 p.m. This one I think got sold out a lot more later, and this CDG also sold out by like 2 p.m. even though they had this really stupid restriction of apparently one model per bus, which I'll talk more about it later on. And then this Citaro was actually still on sale. I think it was up to the second day, and they apparently had like a 12 model purchase limit restriction, which is funny because again, 12 damn piss inducing, and that's how it generally is the scene during the event. But then no worries, because they're gonna bring more stocks of this very soon. Likewise, they're gonna bring more of this CG stocks really soon, so everything will be Gucci, everything will be fine, no worries at all. Generally the event is cool, but I'm done with talking about the event in general, so let's move on to some of the stuff that I'm gonna unbox. And before I unbox the other Singapore stuff like what I've mentioned, I want to show off this Tomica vintage diecast bus that I bought during the event. This cost $10 and it's quite vintage. You can see even the logo shows that it's vintage. It's F37 Neoplan bus Skyliner. And because I'm talking about Tomica, I want to show you this really interesting book that I have in the past, which I've never shown before, which is this. This is the must-have book for Tomica enthusiasts, so-called, but unfortunately I'm not a true Tomica enthusiast, I'm a Tiny enthusiast. Generally, this book shows off the various Tomica products that was released over the years, just that this is up till the early 2010s because my parents bought this about 10 years ago, and it was originally in Japanese but they translated it into traditional Chinese. Honestly, this book shows off a lot of really interesting ones that I wish I had. Actually, this one here was actually on sale during the event. This was together with the same part as this, and I think they also had this airport limousine one also. Where this bus actually lies is at the very far back, where they showed off a bunch of the overseas vehicles. Apparently they separate the Japanese and the overseas vehicles separately. So this one is somewhere here, F37, the Neoplan Skyliner from 1980. Apparently there's a few different designs. This is just two of them, and this is the one that I have. So yeah, interesting. There's a bunch of variants to it, and honestly it's interesting that I have one of these, because honestly it's really hard to come by unless you eBay or carousel it, which is very difficult for the latter. Honestly, having this bus is nothing when you compare it with this. This is the one that I really wish I have someday. This is what they call the long scale Tomica, because apparently they also release slightly larger in scale stuff also. And this one is one that I really wish I have. And this is very similar to that first gen KC articulated bus that they sold before the Citaro one. But this is honestly interesting, especially this London bus. I really wish I had the buses here, and it looks really cool compared to this little Neoplan here. They even say it here, this is longer than your standard size Tomica vehicles. The longer scale Tomicas typically includes buses or other types of trucks. Like here on the other side of the page you have this whole really cool one. And the reason why they call it like that is because this is before they introduced the longer range in like 2011, even though this book was actually released in 2013. So quite odd, but whatever, just stick with it. And yeah, generally this is a cool book. I will still keep it even though it's slightly outdated, but yeah, just like this bus, nice to have because it's a really good look at some of the stuff that Tomica have and be jealous about. Maybe, I don't know, 10-20 years down the road, Tiny will also have one and everyone will just be like, oh, I want one of these also. It will be insane all over again. And just for curiosity, I also have this Neoplan Centraliner that I unboxed during that 1K special. Side by side, it looks really cool. It's just two different eras combined. This is from like the 1980s and this one is from the late 90s. And that's what I think is more or less the trend nowadays for all of these companies. You try to make sure their designs look very futuristic and interesting so that it won't age 10 to 20 years down the road when the bus is operating. And honestly, that's what the Centraliner is. It still looks incredibly futuristic. It looks really nice. It kind of reminds me of the Muezza SD, the MAN Skyliner. I'm not a pure private bus fan, but honestly that bus looks really cool. Inside, outside, it looks really freaking dope. Thank God those and a bunch of other really dope private op coaches are in the hands of really good bus enthusiasts that know what they have inside. So yeah, really cool. So yeah, it really fits together incredibly nicely in the collection as always. Something nice to have. Look at this, it's different era combined. Very long intro aside, let's start with the Mercedes-Benz Citaro. So yeah, for those wondering whether or not I bought the other one, the large screen one that got released before this one, I did. It's just that it's not with me, as in it's on Javier's end, because I feel like this is way better than the large screen one. Initially I thought the large screen one was gonna be the only licensed Mercedes-Benz Citaro Singapore bus that they have, but not anymore. So that's why I only have this instead, and this will probably be the only licensed Citaro I have for now unless they release another Pixel one. And generally I'm gonna make this one very quick because it's the same mode, just that now they have official license for Mercedes-Benz. Look, it now says Mercedes-Benz, and Mercedes-Benz are the intellectual property of Mercedes-Benz. Oh wow, what a tongue twister. They are used by Masterpiece Collectibles under license. So yeah, anyways, let's just unbox this and see how cool it looks. Yay. Oh my gosh, not this. Oh. Wait, hold up. Oh, there it is. Okay, never mind. And here it is. So generally, if you have seen just now they place the operator sticker, the Tower Transit logo and whatnot now in the box. And now it's entirely quite compact. In fact, it's just only this plastic and that's all. It's not like this CG where I still have to leave it outside in the box here. And it really infuriates me a lot, and also a bunch of other people, is that this you can buy a maximum 12. This you can buy maximum 1. And because some guy ranted on the Facebook comments, they came out and they mentioned that there was actually 2,000 of this. A very early batch of them was actually shipped over to Singapore ahead for this expo, and then afterwards the other ones would be just normal shipping and it would take a few weeks later. So that's their explanation. I know Hong Kong people are also wanting this very badly because yeah, looks cool. Otherwise, back to this Citaro, they also have this plastic here. That's just to cover up the printing because the printing is incredibly delicate. It's not like the tiny ones where the whole thing is wrapped inside this kind of material in a bag. Rather, they just stuck each side of it individually. On top is the aircon port, which is now printed on since the newer molds, and it's no longer like a stupid sticker like they had in the past. And here they have literally a big hello. It's just that they could put the URL and the stuff, and they also could put this women behind for some reason, even though it's a little bit of a legality issue whether or not you are allowed to put your face there or not. At the bottom you can see here it's done by the same Chinese company, the one that they got in China. Do it here, they put Masterpiece Collectibles 2021 because this mold was from 2021. In fact, I'm just gonna bring over the other one that I had with me, and like what I've mentioned, it's just generally the same. The only major difference is just the Mercedes-Benz licensing on the Pixel Taro here that I have, which I bought in 2021 or 2022, I lost count. It doesn't have the Mercedes logo, well this one has it. This is a very early era Tower Transit ad, as in they used this to promote the Bullion bus package when they first had it in 2016. They had this for quite a few months before when they first got the buses for RFM for route familiarization, all the way until months after they began operating in Bullion bus package. There's also a double-decker version of this. They put it on some of the B9TLs. They even have this drawing competition where the winner managed to get their ad on a B9TL also. And when the Go Ahead group would win the Loyang bus package a few months later and would become JS, they also had a very similar ad, just that it is red and orange and yellow like what you see on the screen here. They also have a double-decker version of it, just like Towers one, and honestly that one looks equally nice and shows off a really cool era of the bus contracting model when a bunch of operators got involved, including Transcap. And I've done a short about it which mentions how Transcap would have almost got a very similar ad like this and got their own operations in Loyang and thereafter, and can watch it on the iCard on the screen. We're now moving on to the MAN A95, the newer ones that they have. Honestly, this looks really dope. It's just that the expectation falls short at some of the areas, which I'll show off later on as I unbox two of these. So let's see which one I'll start with. Eeny, meeny, miny, mo. Oh great, starting with the 72 one. And funnily enough, the CDGE is also on 72. It's kind of real life nowadays also. You have the newest Euro 6 buses together with the older CDGE in one common fleet. Same stuff here on top. Now it's number 26 and they jump numbers again. I wonder what's the gap in between. But yeah, same stuff here behind. And yeah, let's unbox this and see how it looks like. Whoa. So this is the MAN A95 Euro 6. Honestly, it looks really cool. It's just that there are some parts that are off-putting, and I'll just address it right at the start. First off is the back. The back looks really funny because it's not supposed to be that long. In fact, when I put the 169 Euro 5 facelift A95 that they have, you can see that this looks a little bit different only. Actually, no, it's not even that much of a difference. It looks just the same. It's just that they moved the brake light a little bit above and changed out stuff, and you won't even know which one is the Euro 6. And just by looking from the back, apart from the EDS, I bet you won't even see what's the difference between the Euro 5 and the Euro 6. When in real life, there's a very huge difference to it. This black area at the bottom is significantly thinner and a lot more shorter, but here it's a lot more thicker, and they just have this black area at the bottom. That's it. And since we're already comparing with the Euro 5 facelift, the front is also quite identical, as in just that the top part of the blinker is present, the bottom is just nothing. And honestly, and it really feels quite blunt. The side, at least they touched up the rim cap a bit. They only painted some section of the rim cap black, and generally from afar, apart from some smaller details, it just really looks the same. Like if I just put this like this and I don't tell you which is which, you won't even know which one is the Euro 5 and the Euro 6, because I forgot to tell you another flaw. The base color is almost the same. The Euro 6 has this very lighter shade of blue. I know this is the batch 4 design that has the blue and the grey, and Tiny doesn't have the best track records of actually having very detailed colors in its seats, but still it feels a little bit off and still way more bluish than how it's supposed to be. And honestly, that's where all the complaints end. because this still looks pretty good. It's based on a bus that I've actually taken before in like 2019. And I remember I had taken a picture of this, so I'm just going to put it side by side. The right is how it is in real life and the left is what you're seeing here. And now I have the proud achievement of actually taking a tiny bus that's literally on the same service and the same exact Vigo and model as real life. Yay! And honestly, I really dig this a lot because this is the 2019 era where the font looks incredibly different. I know it's not really easy to capture this on camera. I have a separate picture that I should have shown on the screen here, where it's this incredibly thin font that they had compared to what they have revised over a year later. And honestly, I love this EDS a lot. I love this era. It's so freaking OG. It's unfortunate they have to change it because many people don't really like how the font is. That's why you have the paper desto at the bottom to let people know what service it is, because the font doesn't look legible apparently. And even though today the revised font improves the legibility to a certain extent, I really love the OG one because it looks really nice. I like the detail that they have with the paper and the stuff, and honestly it looks really nice. It's just that if they had some of the very OCD sections like the back and the seat color entirely changed out, I think this would have been a very neat model. Because I've already showed you the difference with this A95, I want to show you the difference with this A95 that I have. This is the 90th anniversary KMB MAN A95 12.8 meter. It's been like that in the box, but nothing happened. It's generally a completely different mold as the details of the headlight show. On the KMB one, it's more indent inside, while on the standard Singapore Euro 6 one, it's just flat on, and they added the headlight when they're spraying the other colors to the bus together. And likewise in the back, ignoring the chip, you can see generally it's more or less quite different now. And that's how it is in real life. They got rid of the grey lining in here, they got rid of the black area in here, and yeah, all generally so that it looks slightly more slicker. And I agree with it, it looks really nice. It's a sad thing that we don't have any more new A95s on the way. Even our batch 6, it doesn't look like this. I wish it looks like that. Why can't we have stuff like that? In fact, on the batch 5, they already got rid of this bottom and top section here. It's just this grey section in the middle here. And honestly, now thinking about it, why if we have this kind of design for the batch 6? Isn't that what our Irish City batch 7 A95 looks like? But yeah, generally this bus is pretty cool. Very nice bus overall. So jump cut is the next day because I have thought about it. What basically happened is that I filmed the original unboxing video yesterday. After I told him about it, he told me 2 magical words. For fuck. Those 2 words. It's so magical that it prompted me to stand here again today and do a second part. And whatever, I don't care. Basically what it says is this. The SBST Desto one was just a speculation. Why do I trust on whatever has been speculated, whatever. Maybe if the SBS delivery one comes out, I don't know, then I will think about what I'll do with this one. Since we already have this at hand, might as well just take the time to unbox it lah. So let me just show you around the box here. This is the 1110 Singapore double-decker bus, not licensed by Volvo. You can see 46 Masterpiece Collectibles. The box heavily resembles the livery. Behind, you can see it's like that, and if you are very observant enough, it's in a different font apparently. And the water slide decal is here now. It's string wrapped together with the box. It's not like inside the box itself, and I can actually peel it off already with my hands. You can see there's the SG Love bus and the SBS Transit logo all over here. Probably said this before, I don't know how am I going to put this in, but yeah. And since I'm on this topic, because people would be curious about this, here's the front, here's the top, here's that, here's this one, Masterpiece Collectibles. The back, it says 15 years of model making, and the decal, which looks really big now. They put water slide decal in wonderful, I don't know what font is this, and it tells you all the sides in English. And the bottom here, which they have this warning now, which is also available on the Citaro, and I wish they put this a lot earlier. Long-term exposure to direct sunlight or bright sunlight may cause damage. And I'm not surprised. A lot of the tiny buses that I have on display are weather damaged because I left it on display for quite a while. Some parts have started to whiten out, some parts have started to peel out, so that's why everyone needs to be more careful when displaying this kind of stuff, which is why I tell Javier, oh, I'd rather keep this stuff on rotation. But yeah, this is just generally everything. Designed in Singapore, made in China. Obviously, there's no CDGE models or molds on the market, so Masterpiece has to spend more time in R&D, more like the design part of R&D, designing the body and making the model so that it can make it. So yeah, I don't remember how much I spent on this, and I forgot how much it cost. I think it was like $25 or $23. But yeah, enough talking. Let's unbox this bus and see how it looks like. crap. So one thing I didn't really mention much is that the cardboard box is one of these very thick boxes. I feel like it's a little bit different from what they have last time. Even so, the very thick material is not enough to protect the amount of drops or damage. I don't know how this small little indents came from, but whatever. I hope that my vase is perfectly fine and it doesn't break. We can only find out by opening it, I guess. Ooh. Here's the vase. It feels very slippery, but it looks really nice. Fortunately, everything isn't really broken. But yeah, it looks really nice. The behind here, you can see Pure 22. This is SBS 7428E. I don't remember if this is still operating as of filming, but this is definitely one of the many different CDGs that we have ran on 72. 72 got a bunch of CDGs. Even up till now, less than 2 weeks before it gets retired, there's still a bunch that's still running on 72, and also short working trip variants like 72B and 72AI. So one thing that I see in the initial pictures that they show is that when you look at one of the angles, the front looks incredibly chunky. This part feels incredibly thick, but now I don't know why. When I look at it now close up, it doesn't feel that bad. It feels perfectly fine. It fits in really nice. It doesn't protrude out a lot, and it's generally really nice to have. And it's pretty detailed. I can even see the handrails. I don't think you can see those kind of details in a tiny bus ever. That's really a step up from Masterpiece, and honestly, this looks really cool. And the EDS for the 72 is really nice, and when you have that together with the other tiny A95 Euro 6 that's also on 72, it looks like a really matching set. I don't know if the direction is the same because I've never really looked closer at it, but yeah, below there isn't much imprints. Actually, there is now a little Masterpiece Collectibles logo. I don't know if you can see the logo mark right at the corner, and it's generally nicer and it feels really nice. It's like the Neoplan. It really gives like this really modern 2000s look that kind of aged a little bit but still looks really good enough. In case in point, this bodywork, they call it the CDGE because it's by Comfort Delgro, and interestingly the bodywork was sold off to VDL, I think. So VDL had it. They made the VDL SB200 or whatever, and they also have one unit of that SB200 in Hong Kong, complete with that CDGE like bodywork. They call it the AMC one, and it's biaxial. And ironically, in Hong Kong they also love the CDGE, even though it's a Singapore model. They don't even have a proper one in Hong Kong unless they manage to preserve one of these units, which is not surprising. I'm not surprised if they actually go ahead and preserve one of the CDGs, because honestly it looks nice. Maybe repaint it to the SBS Transit livery because it looks so freaking nice on that. But yeah, it's a shame that they decided to repaint all of this to lush green in 2019. It lacks a lot of the flavor that the OG CDG has. It looks so freaking nice in the livery and it really gives me good nostalgia. I just wish that it has it in another service and maybe an SBS Transit livery, and it'll look really dope. So the Masterpiece CDG is actually 1/110 scale, which means that they are more or less similar to Tiny's one. So if I put this other B9TL that they have, this is the ADL Enviro bodywork that they have together with the CDG bodywork, it really looks really similar, and it's no surprise that even down to the drivetrain they would look completely similar because it's a B9TL after all. It's just that they're both made by two different companies. You can even see the very small differences that they have across it. Actually, now looking at these, because they have two different interpretations, right, I really wonder which one is actually the correct one, or whether they are really that similar altogether. And yeah, that's pretty cool. Let's move on to the other tiny A95s. Here's the other limited edition one, and honestly it's really damn sighing if I don't actually open this up. So I'll open this up and I'll actually look at more in depth on how the bus actually looks like. So honestly, one thing I realized with the box is that it's really quite empty, because you know how the other limited edition buses, they will have the KMB logo on top slapped here, right? This one doesn't. It's not even licensed, so it looks really empty here. It looks like one green slash here, MAN A95 green. Wow, it feels really plain. And here's the limited edition MAN A95. This is our very first tiny model that's available publicly with adverts. Generally, if we look past the ad, they look generally the same. So the difference is one is a SBS transit service, the other one is a SMRT base service, and both actually utilize the very early 2019 era EDS, and honestly I'm a sucker for it lah. Also, one thing I forgot to point out yesterday was that the Euro 6 has the wheelchair sticker, the Euro 5 apparently lacks it, but that's the more noticeable difference of the front, especially with this one which doesn't have the paper desto. And on the side you can see it says the single machine with the tiny logo on it. It's a little bit sad, but they covered over the exhaust grills here at the below section, and also likewise behind is a little bit unrealistic because they have the single machines logo in here. In real life, if you look at A95 Euro 6 ads, and normally what happens is that behind they'll leave the upper section here with ad content, and then normally below here in the grill section they won't leave any ad content in there, so it will just be exposed to the grill. But in this version, oh, stop, don't do that again. No. SG 6008C. So this one, I have never taken this bus before, neither I forgot its perm allocation or whatever, so I'll just throw on the screen up so everyone can have a look. But yeah, generally apart from the little inconsistencies with how the ad is kind of done, the small little OCD I have because I've done a ton of ad for IRCT already and other ops like Power Transit and RBST because Tri-Alliance, generally it still looks really good enough, nice to have in the collection, as I always say. Maybe one day, like what JV and the rest say, maybe there will be an ad for it in real life, but we'll see whether Tiny even have enough money to actually do one of these ads in Singapore. So one thing that they also showed off in the expo, like what I said, was that they have other designs of the single machine, as in they sell it in terms of files and badges and stuff like that, and they feature other designs like an SBS Transit one and a SMRT Pixel one, which means I'm not surprised sooner or later they'll also do an ad version of it. And honestly, my opinion, and again this is my own opinion, the B9 TL will look very nice because on the B9 TL one, what I've seen is that they'll probably invert the orange and purple section that you see here. They'll flip it around, put it on the other side and put a graphic here instead, based on what was actually shown in the file design itself. So that would be incredibly cool. And probably the more sicker one is actually the Pixel, because they're going to do it on a non-facelift E500 like this. It's just that I kind of don't like it at the same time because their mold for the Enviro 500 looks incredibly chunky. Look at this, the front felt a little bit thick and a little bit off proportion. But to be fair, this is an early one that I've bought in 2019. I don't know now in 2023 if there's any significant changes to it or they have done a new one, but based on the looks it's still the same. So, and don't forget they have a lot of stuff in the pipeline. I think I already mentioned this in the unboxing special already, but a few months ago they had this exhibition where they released the remainder of this 90th anniversary buses. They had this exhibition and they showed a bunch of upcoming buses, and honestly it looks really dope. That they have Volvo Olympians there, they are all SBS spec. They also have the MAN A95 Euro 5 and Euro 6, although the Euro 5 kind of looks like it's for Hong Kong spec. Don't worry, Masterpiece already done the Singapore one, you can probably buy that instead. Even if Tiny releases one, I'm pretty sure it's gonna be like the same case as this. They're just gonna kind of make it like it, but then at the same time look incredibly off at it. But don't forget, they also have the MAN A92 Euro 6, like the actual Singapore spec Euro 6, no hair, just that nice feeling, and I really can't wait for it. It'll look incredibly dope. But and that also means more money is going off my wallet already, so what to do about it? Just cry and somehow get all the money back. And unfortunately I have to wait long because this should be the last video that I'll probably do before NS. I have very limited time left. In fact, when I'm filming this, it's the 14th, and in 2 weeks later, on this very day, on a Thursday, I will have already been in Tekong. I've been doing some insane stuff. I will have probably been bored already, and unfortunately that means most of the time I won't be at home, obviously, because I'll be in Tekong. That also means that there will be lesser video output, there will be lesser videos that I'll be uploading. Put it dumbed down, I won't be doing much videos. A lot of stuff that we'll be doing I will put on hold, like the tiny unboxing special thing that I've been planning to do. I've already edited to the start of the second part, but I'm still not done yet. If you see any other video probably from now till December, chances are they are probably filmed before that. So yeah, if you're new here, do remember to like and subscribe and turn on post notifications. When that 1k special drops, it's gonna be interesting because it won't just be like, you know, the 4 ones that I show you. There's a lot more that I have, and honestly it's insane when you see how much I actually have. So if you don't want to miss that, do remember to like, subscribe, turn on post notifications. That's it for this video. Thanks for watching, and I will see you next time. Goodbye. This one has a 9. Ooh, ooh, ooh.